We also want to tell you about our StudentCam contest. It's a video competition for middle and high school students. This year's competition is centered on a message to President Obama and what the most important issue is that he needs to address. We want to show you a short interview and video from one of our third prize winners.
We are facing a planetary emergency, which, if not solved, would exceed anything we've ever experienced in the history of humankind.
Well, it's not just for President Obama, but I think it's for many people who are educators of children and citizens of the world who care about the environment that we live in order to grow to be a responsible and accountable citizen of the global world that we live in and on the planet Earth. It's critical that we educate kids to understand what environment means and how the environment is what protects us and that we need to give back by protecting it.
We are joined by Walter Gottlieb, third prize StudentCam winner in Hoboken, New Jersey. Walter, why did you decide to focus your documentary on the environment and going green?
Well, it's a problem that not just the United States faces, but every country in the world also faces.
In your documentary, you traveled to the Gateway schools in New York City. Why did you decide to go visit this school, and how did you arrange that visit?
Well, there weren't many other green schools in the vicinity, or green buildings for that matter, and it was relatively easy to hook up with them. My supervisor did it all. I didn't do any of it.
When you visited the school, what did you learn about the school since it is a green school?
I learned how buildings can be made by using sustainable materials and having radiant heating and opening up the windows when they're to turn off the natural, opening up the windows and turning off the electric light to let in the natural light.
Out of the practices that this school implements, what practice do you think is the most effective for schools?
I think the most effective one is to open up the windows and turn off the natural lights because it's such an easy one.
Why do you think it's something that schools should do to go green?
Well, it could help the environment in whatever little way we can.
Do you and your family practice green efforts at home?
Yes, we do.
What are some of the practices that you implement at home?
Well, we turn off our electric lights, we open up our window shades, and we recently installed some Energy Star rated thermostats.
And how do they help your house?
They just help us leave lesser impact on the planet.
Has the environment been something that you've always been interested in?
Yes, it has.
Did you have an opinion about the environment and practicing green efforts before you created the documentary? If so, what was it?
Yes, I did, and I thought that we should save the planet I don't want to fry without the ozone layer before we die in nuclear warfare.
One thing that you mentioned at the end of your documentary is that building green schools can be good for national security. Why do you state that?
Because our country is so dependent upon countries in the Middle East for oil, and the Middle East is also known to cause terrorism. So if we stop depending on the Middle East, it'll make the nation feel more comfortable about their national security.
After your visit to the Gateway schools, what would you tell your school leaders to do to try to make your school more green?
I would tell them to implement these practices such as get radiant heating, buy energy from a renewable source such as wind or solar, and open up the window shades and turn off the electric lights. And that's pretty much all.
Walter, if you could speak with President Obama, what would you tell him about going green?
I would tell him, gosh, I don't know what to say.
Would you ask him to speak to the nation about it? Would you ask him himself to implement green efforts?
Yeah, I would. I'd tell him that to implement these green efforts and encourage the nation to implement these efforts also.
Walter, my last question for you is, what are you going to do with your prize money?
Well, I'm going to spend it mostly on things I like, such as video games.
Once again, Walter, congratulations on your StudentCam win, and thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
You can watch Walter Gottlieb's winning video as well as all of our winning StudentCam videos at www.studentcam.org.